This is Julie Brandon.
And Jeremy Hart.
Gamified curriculum, the single lesson cycle.
Problem of practice. With rapidly advancing technology integration must be purposeful. It must be carefully planned and implemented with student needs, cognitive overload, and appropriate developmental levels in mind. Technology for the sake of technology does not equate to student learning.
Why gaming? Research suggests that technology can act as a motivational catalyst for student engagement. Game-based learning provides opportunities for students to become more engaged in curriculum, which may lead to students more readily accessing the curriculum, and this may lead to higher achievement.
Participants. This curriculum project is designed for educators that teach students from grade 4 to college and university levels. Educators that are interested in incorporating gaming into their existing instructional strategies would attend the second in a series of introductory workshops over a 4-month period of time, twice a month for 90 to 120 minutes, depending on the session.
How? Gaming curriculum takes a tremendous amount of content knowledge and planning on behalf of the instructor. You can't just give a kid an iPad or a laptop and say, hey, have fun while you learn this cool stuff. Participants in this workshop have already been through the first section of content lasting 3 months, in which they learned about gaming and evaluating individual lessons that incorporate gaming techniques. This second series of workshops provides participants with a basic introduction on how to create a lesson cycle, which will eventually become gamified. The more intricate components of gaming take place in the 4th and 5th series of workshops. All workshops are created very systematically and provide for chunked content, immediate feedback, participant discussion, and finally, allowing for partner and group work helps participants not become cognitively overloaded.
Outcomes and assessments. Learning outcomes and targets. Recognize. Using the language of the gaming discipline, learners will identify salient parts of gamified curriculum content. Analyze. Participants will integrate one element of their lesson cycle at a time to ensure that each element functions appropriately within the overall completed lesson cycle. Evaluate. Participants will test their lesson segment to ensure that all learning objectives have been successfully implemented and that the lesson is operational. Participants will also reflect upon their knowledge levels throughout the series of professional development to ensure that they are aware of their self-knowledge. This reflection will help with motivational outcomes and promote self-regulation and strategy-seeking skills. Create. Design a lesson cycle that differentiates and engages learners in content curriculum. Assessments are informal checks understanding that allow the presenters to determine if participants are building towards mastering skills needed to plan one lesson cycle. All assessments and activities are similar. This allows for participants to demonstrate understanding and mastery of the content and the process.
Motivational outcomes. There are 3 distinct motivational outcomes for this series of professional development. First, building, scaffolding, and supporting a high individual self-efficacy for participants as they go through the process of tackling a challenging task. In this case, creating gamified curriculum. Second, to create a sense of high expectancy values through competence and high expectations of self. When participants commit to this extensive series of professional development, they know that with persistence and effort, they will be able to create research-supported, gamified instruction and motivate students in their own classes or courses. This 5-series workshop will help participants sustain these motivational outcomes through carefully created and chunked content, provide timely and accurate feedback so that participants can self-regulate by monitoring and adjusting their strategies for success.
Alignment. Curriculum outcomes align with assessment in the following ways. The structure purposely chunks the content so that participants have time to learn necessary components of gaming, beginning with research and vocabulary through the curriculum planning. Participants will receive homework and that they will be able to work on purposeful planning in between meeting sessions. Because of the purposeful structure, participants would also be granted access to an online learning community that will allow for ongoing dialogue and support in meetings and after meetings. The workshop will consist of lecture, discussion, worked examples, and activities to help participants become acclimated with commonalities and functions of gaming, curriculum, and program. The facilitators will assist educators through worked examples before allowing for individual and group activities to build working memory, long-term, and automaticity of how to create gaming curriculum. Assessment tasks help participants demonstrate their understanding, at first in a group setting with immediate feedback. Participants then work independently to complete their assessment task and post them to an online learning community where they receive feedback from colleagues and the presenters. This structure helps develop participant expertise.
Curriculum. This workshop series consists of 5 overall units. Participants learn how to create all components of a lesson cycle that will be gamified in a future workshop. Units break down the components that comprise one complete lesson. Breaking down the units this way gives participants smaller chunks of information. This chunking process, as well as for allowing for working in small groups, helps alleviate cognitive load. Unit 1 is an introduction to gamified curriculum. There are 2 sections, research behind gaming and language of the discipline. Unit 2, where do I begin? Participants learn to identify standards and learning goals. Engagement is Unit 3. It's the heart of the lesson. Participants will learn how to complete introduction of new knowledge and common formative assessment parts of the lesson cycle. In Unit 4, participants learn how to deepen in practice for their students. Unit 5 is putting it all together. In 3 separate lessons, they complete one lesson cycle. They make sure this lesson cycle is operational, and the last unit is celebrating success.
Worked examples. Worked examples that were developed show participants how their lesson cycle will look in action by providing detailed information about the specific skills they are learning in the class. At this point in the workshop, participants are given templates that allow them to create a Google slideshow that carefully guides them to creating their own unit of study. A total of 4 worked examples are used throughout the entire workshop. At the end of the 4-month staff development session, participants will have created 4 slideshows that when combined together, create one complete lesson. This individual lesson cycle is the basic unit for creating a quest line and eventually gamified curriculum.
In conclusion, gamified curriculum is a research-supported approach to student learning. Teachers will be less likely to become cognitively overloaded when staff development is presented in small, supported chunks over time. This approach to learning slowly builds schema for participants. Research suggests that motivation and learning may increase with carefully planned and executed lessons that integrate technology, such as gaming. This final slide demonstrates all of the references that were used to create this gamified curriculum project and presentation. We hope you have enjoyed it and have learned a lot about how gamified curriculum is created. Thank you very much.
Thank you.